Hey guys, so this video isn't going to be super in-depth or anything like that, but I just wanted to say that yesterday I finally started the rewrite for the third and final book in the Ashley Jones trilogy. I've been really worried to start it, and it's why I put it off for so long. I think I finished the book in 2016. I know it's been a while. I would have to check to see when exactly it was, but it's definitely been a long time since it was done. Might have been early 2017, but I feel like I finished it before I graduated high school. I'm not sure. But I was going to start rewriting it on January 1st, but I was really worried and nervous, and I didn't want to dive into it right away, especially with so many other books and editing and whatnot going on. So I finally decided to stop being a chicken today, or yesterday technically, because it's 3:30 in the morning, and I decided to go ahead and start. So when I do these, I make up a little notebook here, and I have the chapters here and a running list of the scenes that I've added or deleted here. And then here, this is a little different because it's a rewrite. I'm writing the things that have changed. So the first thing that I have written down is entirely new introduction in chapter 1. Has more character voice and feels less let's get it over with. Because originally I felt like the introduction, it literally picked up right where book 2 left off. There was no beat or pause for the reader to work themselves back into the story. It was immediately like, I don't really want to write this book, let's get it over with. And I hated that, and it was one of the many things that made me feel like I didn't do my characters justice. And I feel like now I have. Eventually I'm going to write a blog post sharing the new paragraphs compared to the old paragraphs, so you guys can see that, and I will make a video when I do that as well. I have also made a blog post on my author's website about starting the rewrite, and it was before I started actually doing it, so it has less information than this does, but it's still there, and if you guys want to see it, the link to that is down below in the description. Same with my author's website. But then I have more play on Seth's nerves and offers insight into Ashley's boldness as a cover for True Feelings. In the original book, she is, in short, 100% rude, and it makes no sense for her character. Ashley is a bold person, and she lacks a filter rather heavily. However, we have seen her caring, and we do know she's capable of it, but in the third book, I took that away from her without giving a reason to it. She went through a lot in book 2, she went through a lot in book 1, and she went through a lot before the series even started. But that doesn't give her a reason to suddenly be rude to one of the only people who's ever made her feel accepted. So I went through, and I made sure that it felt more natural. I didn't want her to seem like a raging witch, basically. So I changed it, I made some bold decisions, but I'm 2,000 words into the rewrite, all of it's chapter 1, and I am in love with it so far, and that's what matters the most to me here. And I hope that the readers who saw the original love this one just as much. There are 3 scenes in chapter 1, and although I added to every single one of them, and I took away something from every single one of them, whether to make it better or to take out details that didn't belong there weren't many details, by the way. But there are still 3 scenes, and the main premise of them have not changed. They've just been expanded upon, and the characters have been given actual emotions instead of the characters just standing there unmoving. I don't really know how to describe it very well. I guess if you were watching a movie and the 2 characters were just standing here talking to each other. They make expressions, and they make faces, and they look like they're having a conversation, but none of it seems genuine. So their brow furrows, but whatever they say doesn't match up with that. And there were a lot of conflicting reports in chapter 1, and I did my best to change that. But chapter 1, scene 2, which I just have titled here and underlined, new feel to Ashley and Tony's conversation, less of Ashley being an insensitive ass, more self-realization on her part as well. That's true. In the original book, she does something that's incredibly insensitive and ego-damaging, and it's very rude of her. and she has to be told multiple times what is wrong with it. She's a grown woman. She's been to college. She knows very well what it feels like to be bullied. She knows very well what it feels like to have your confidence and your ego stepped on. And yet she goes out of her way to be rude to another human being, and then it has to be told why it's wrong. And she has to have a ghost that she hates, by the way, tell her this. She can't figure it out on her own. And it's stupid. It doesn't make sense. So I rewrote that because there's no logic to it, and I knew that. I realized that, so I fixed it. Hopefully, we'll see. Chapter 1, Scene 3, more playful attitude, and Ashley finally actively realizes when she's crossed a line. In Scene 3, there is a part where she walks in there into Seth's house, and she mocks him openly after already destroying his ego and making fun of him. And then, when he says, "Now you're mocking me," instead of apologizing, she's just like, "No, I'm not. How am I mocking you?" She should be aware that she's being rude. She should be aware that she's in the wrong, and she should be aware of it because she is a human too, and she understands emotions. She can feel emotions. She can feel his emotions. She can read his mind. She knows what he's thinking. But she refuses to accept that and use it to make intelligent decisions, and it makes her look stupid, and it makes her look like she has no feelings. It makes her look emotionless, and it makes her look incapable of forming a relationship with another human being. And I needed to fix that. So I did. And the total for chapter 1 was 2,668 words, and I don't want to say I added any scenes, but I did heavily expand upon scene 1. I added a lot of paragraphs and a lot of details and took out a lot of things, and it's almost a new scene, but it still has the information from the first one, so I don't want to call it a new scene, if that makes any sense. So I'm really, really excited to keep going at this rewrite and to... I don't even know. I realize I'm tired and it's 3:36 in the morning, but I love these characters, and I remember when I wrote the Paranormal Detective series, which is the series that followed the trilogy originally, I loved it when I was writing it, and then slowly I started to hate it, and when I hated the Paranormal Detective series, I started hating the trilogy because I felt like I ruined the characters. And for the first time since I wrote the Paranormal Detective series, for the first time since I edited books 1 and 2 of the trilogy, and for the first time since I started the rewrite of the Paranormal Detective series, I finally feel like I have a connection to these guys again, and that on its own basically means the world to me at this point. Currently, I feel almost the same way about chapter 1 as I feel when I'm writing the Bo Austin series, and I love Bo, and I love Jake and Jensen and Jamal, and I don't feel that same connection to most of my other characters, but with the rewrite, I feel the same way about Ashley and Seth, and I love that. Sometimes it's really hard to admit that you missed the mark on the first write of your book, and it's really, really hard to admit that it needs a rewrite or that it needs to be reworked. But once you make that call, and once you realize that that's what needs to be done, and once you start it, it may be hard, it may be scary, it may make you nervous as hell, but once you actually decide to make that call, and once you start it, you'll realize why it needed a rewrite, and that's what matters. So I am going to stop talking and finish my coffee and then go to bed, because I need that, and then later on in the day I will go back to writing and or rewriting or editing, depending on what I'm feeling suits me best when I wake up. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed part 1 of the rewrite editing series here of book 3 of the Ashley Jones trilogy, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.